Howdy, howdy, folks. It's Donnie here, and today I am answering a viewer's question. And the question is, isn't Linux shell scripting obsolete? Well, this question came in response to a video I posted a couple of weeks ago about Linux shell scripting. And when I say Linux shell scripting, I'm primarily talking about Bash because it is the most widespread shell in the world of Linux, the most widely used shell in the world of Linux. And and I kind of get where this questioner is coming from because shell scripting, it's really old technology. It's been around since the very first Unix shell was created back in the early 1970s. And nowadays we have newer scripting languages like Perl and Ruby and Python, especially Python nowadays. Like it's probably the big daddy of those three I just mentioned. But anyway, these new scripting languages, they're newer, they're more modern, and they got more bells and whistles that the old shell scripting languages don't have. And maybe they could also be considered sexier. Yeah, like me, they're sexier, right? But anyway, so I can kind of understand why somebody might think that shell scripting is obsolete. But the reality is that's very, very far from the truth. And the thing is, these newer scripting languages, Ruby, Perl, Python, whatever, right? Yeah, they're great languages. I'm not knocking them. If you like using them, it's fine with me. I'm not going to argue with you, right? Yeah, that's your choice. But the thing is that shell scripting is still really, really good for Linux administrators. Now, these newer languages, good for DevOps, but if you're like a Linux or a Unix administrator, the shell scripting still has its place, and in a lot of cases, it's a lot more appropriate than these other languages. And that's because, these other languages, Python, whatever, they can do a lot with them, and they're really good in a lot of ways, but there's a steep learning curve to them, right? And that's because, pretty much everything you do, you got to write code for it, right? Let's say that you're a Linux administrator, and you want some sort of a script that will automate the gathering of system information, whether it be performance information, user information, whatever else. You can do that with Python probably, I guess. I don't know, I've never tried it. But the thing is, in the first place, you got to write code in such a way that it'll be able to gather this information. I don't know how to do it, but I guess there's a way. But you got to write the code to do it, right? Then let's say you want to save this information to some sort of a file, some sort of a text file that you eventually want to convert into maybe a PDF file, right? Well, you could do that with Python too, I guess. But the thing is, you got to write code for every stage, right? You got to write code to create a file, code to open the file, then code to write to the file, and then code to close the file, and then code to convert it to the PDF file, right? With shell scripting, you don't mess with any of that, okay? Because with shell scripting, it's just a lot easier. It's you can think of it as being modular because you have these on any Linux or Unix system, you have a lot of what we call text stream filter utilities. They can take either text from a text file or from some sort of a stream, from the output of another program, maybe, and they can manipulate this information. They can format this information and just put it right into a file for you, right? Instead of writing code to open the file and write to the file, close the file, and all that, all you got to do is just use a simple little redirector in order to direct the output of your data gathering programs into a file, right? And then you have another file or another utility rather that you can use to just convert your text file into a PDF file, right? I mean, it's all very, very quick and easy when you do shell scripting, all right? So when you're doing like Python or Ruby or Perl, whatever other scripting language, then you got to spend time to learn how to do all that stuff, right? With shell scripting, it's a breeze. I mean, there's hardly any learning curve at all to shell scripting, right? Especially to creating just very, very simple shell scripts. And of course, if you want something or if you need something that's a little bit more complex, yeah, shell scripting still has the programming constructs that you'll find in other programming and other scripting languages. Yeah, you got your for loops, you got your decision loops, if-thens, stuff like that, right? All of it to help you create an effective shell script. And as I say, it's easy, right? It's way easier than using one of these other scripting languages, but it's still very, very powerful. And if you are a Linux administrator or a Unix administrator, that's what you want. You want easy. You want quick and easy. You know, you don't have time to mess around learning these other scripting languages if you don't absolutely have to. So, in that regard, yeah, shell scripting, it's great. It's great. Okay? But it's not just for system administrators. I mean, let's say that you're a graphics artist and you have a whole bunch of graphics files that you need to either format the same way or that you need to apply the same different type of graphics effect to. Well, there is a command line program called ImageMagick that you can do that with, okay? Well, of course, I mean, it's really only meant to be used with one program at a time, but you can use ImageMagick in a shell script with for loops or whatever else to do batch processing of an entire big directory of files all at the same time, right? So it just makes it so easy. And hey, I've even used it for to help me keep track of my crypto investments, right? So I created a shell script that takes the API key from CoinGecko and automatically retrieves information for a whole bunch of my coins all at the same time. So it's really, really great. I mean, so yeah, shell scripting, it's great. So, so the answer to the question then isn't shell scripting obsolete? And the answer is no, absolutely not. It's still very, very vital. Yeah, shell scripting, think of it as this senior citizen of scripting languages. But hey, I'm a senior citizen too, and I'm still useful. So, and so is shell scripting. So, but anyway, with that said, now it's time for a word from my sponsor, which is me, and my brand new book, which is called The Ultimate Linux Shell Scripting Guide. And yeah, with a word like ultimate in the title, you know it's got to be good, and I think it is. So it doesn't matter if you're a Linux beginner or an experienced Linux administrator, you can still use this book. It's still going to help you out. And it starts off with the very basics of the Linux shell and shell scripting, and advances all the way up through the more advanced concepts that you can use for your daily Linux or Unix administration duties, and or even for your own home use. If you need to do something at home with it, okay, that requires a simple solution, a quick and simple solution, right? And so yeah, be sure to check it out. The purchase links are in the video description below. So that is all for now, I do believe. So with that, over and out. Till next time.